He's loud, isn't he? Yeah, g'day folks, you're back again with the big fella. So a little while ago our front yard was looking rather barren. We were at a nearby plant nursery and we saw something while we were looking around. It kind of made my brain itch a little bit. It was something rather novel in the design and it was touted as a frog hotel. So I thought, well, we got some frogs around here and I want to see if this actually works. So I decided to have a go at this myself and I wanted to see what kind of results I could get from it. So after doing a bit of research on these and finding out that most of the internet really hadn't heard of what a frog hotel was, I decided, okay, well, let's see what YouTube's got to say about this. So I had a look on YouTube to see what other content had been made about frog hotels, and it was really surprising to find that not many other people have actually done this. Mostly only Australian creators. So I thought, well, maybe it's not just an Australian thing, maybe we can make this more international. What we're going to do is try and make one together. So now we'll dive into the component parts of the frog hotel. So enough talking head, let's get into some narration. Now the basic essentials you need for this project will involve taking a trip down to Bunnings or Walmart or the like, a general hardware store with a nursery section as well. Firstly, the pot. I used a 32cm ceramic pot with a fairly deep construction so as to hold the pipes in place with the crushed rock, or whichever stabilising rocks you choose. The other reason I chose this size of pot, which is the diameter, was because it will fit into a bucket once complete, for reasons which will become self-evident later in the video. I chose crushed rock because of the random nature of its size and the ability to fill in gaps, but you can choose whatever you want, like smooth pebbles, quartz, etc., as long as the pipes can be held in place by said rocks of choice to stabilise them. I used a product called Tuscan Path in a 5 kilo bag, which comes in a variety of colours, and depending on the size of the pot and how many pipes you have to occupy the given space, will dictate how much you need to use. As for the PVC pipes to use, I started out with a variety of 32, 40 and 50mm sizes, but later ditched the 32mm pipes as there were no frogs small enough to occupy them. Additionally, you'll need a length of 15mm PVC pipe to hold the solar light in place. So the bottom of the pipes will go directly onto the base of the pot in a loose fitment, and the number of the pipes you have and the size of them is totally at your discretion. While you're at the hardware store, don't forget to pick up some 45-degree angle joins or adapters to put at the tops of the pipes. Frogs like shelter and to be kept away from dangers, and I've found this to be a good solution. You'll find frogs to be mostly nocturnal, so they'll be active during the night and they'll feed on small insects, which are attracted by light. To help this, you can get some solar outdoor path lights which put out just enough light at night time to attract insects so the frogs can feed. One cautionary note with the pot. Try to find one without a drainage hole, or you'll need to do what I did and find something to plug up the hole with. Whatever the case, most ceramic pots will come with these holes, so plug it up with whatever you can find. I found a piece of scrap foam which was good enough and covered it and the diameter of the hole with a liberal dose of silicone sealant. You'll want to allow this to set for up to 24 hours and then do a wet test on it to make sure the silicone holds. So those are the basic components of the frog hotel, but something else you may want to do to pretty it up with a figurine or something, also a water-dwelling plant like a common rush or Juncus usitatus can help with a more natural setting for the frogs. So those are more or less the core components to getting your frog hotel up and running. The rest is cutting the pipes to size, watering, cleaning and maintenance of the pots and the rocks. Okay, so here it is, the rough first draft of the Frog Hotel, based on some pictures that I've seen. So we're going to see if this works. As I said, it's rough, but it's almost complete. Now, what it's just missing right now is the light that goes into that small pipe at the top. And that'll go on when it goes outside. They've been charging up the last day or so. And some water goes into the bottom here, and from there, well, the frogs have got some light so they can attract insects, and the frogs can eat the insects, and they've got water so they can just feel at home, like it's just a normal creek bed or something like that. So let's hope it works. It's all good in theory, but now it's time to put it to the practice. So I think I might have overestimated my measurements for the light holder. I've taken another 150mm off it, or about 6 inches, and before it was just sitting way up here somewhere. So if the frogs are going to get any insects from them, they better have a bloody long tongue if they're going to hit up there somewhere. So what I did was just cut it down to size, and now just going to fill it up with water, and it should be ready to go. So making up one of these frog hotels was actually fairly simple in its design, because you got the small ones are 32mm, the medium ones are 40, and the large ones are 50. And the large ones would be better for most of the adult frogs, and the medium and small ones would be better for some of the juveniles. The principle's fairly simple. I mean, you know, you're trying to replicate the environment the frogs live in. So they like wet areas, they like safe areas to be in, so they're away from predators. They like a bit of light, so they can get some insects, free food. So not only are they getting a free meal, they're also living rent-free. Little buggers. Now here is our frog hotels in situ, and it's coming into winter now, so they're preparing to go and be less active, hibernate, whatever they do. These guys out here didn't quite get the memo. These have proved to be quite a popular little place to congregate and do whatever inside of. So what we're going to do with our increased population, what we're going to do is take out the little ones. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 32mm pipes. We're going to remove those, and we're going to have the 40mm pipes being the smallest ones. So the ones in the middle, and then the 50mm pipes are going to be in the middle instead, and then we're going to have 65mm pipes to accommodate more frogs. What we're going to do is go inside and see what we're going to work with. Alright, so here we have 65mm PVC pipes, 1 metre each, and the 45-degree bends that go on each of them. So we've got 4 bends in total, so what that means is we're going to have to do a bit of a cutout around the middle somewhere. And what we're going to do is to clean out the hotels as they are. I'm sure they've had a fair bit of partying inside there. So what they're going to do is going to be relocated to a bucket or something while we clean these out. But we don't want to be inhumane or unkind to the frogs. So what we're going to do is just kind of move them as quickly and efficiently as possible while we clean the thing out. It only takes about 5 minutes. So this kind of mesh grate is what we're going to use to clean out the rocks with. Pick this up at Bunnings, and it should be just good enough for us to kind of put in a layer of rocks and get the pressure washer onto them and just clean them out that way. So that's our work for tomorrow. Retire the 32mm pipes and the angles for that, and make the 65s the biggest, the 50s the next biggest, and the 40s the smallest. So we've got a fair few frogs in there at the moment. I think the last count was about 9 or 10. We have had up to 15. So we've got a preliminary cut of the 65mm pipe and the joiners. You can see just how thick the PVC stuff is compared to the DWV joiners. I mean, it's probably about half the thickness on the new ones. But what I've got a little bit of a problem with here is I've cut the new ones to about 500mm, and they're sitting way taller than I expected, so I'm going to have to cut about maybe 50 mil off the top of that to try and get them in the same perspective and see how they all line up in the pot. And here you go, 4 brand new, I'd say, family rooms for the frog hotels. 450 something mil tall next to the 50 mil, and then there's the 40 mil, so 40, 50, 65s, and we're going to put them out in the pots. Now, frogs will usually hang out anywhere that they either feel safe or where they can hide quickly from predators, and that includes behind these air conditioning units here, but more particularly up this air conditioning duct, which is where we found one earlier on, right in behind this little cover there, and he was croaking away like mad. Okay, so with these hotels for the frogs, you might be wondering why they're mounted inside buckets. Well, quite simply because the frogs can actually scale up these buckets and maybe jump up them. But our little friend down here is what's known as a Queensland cane toad, and they can jump, but they can't jump up here. They don't have the same kind of sticky pad ability that our friendly little frogs up here do. So these guys are safe up here, and oh, look at these two canoodling back there. That's cute. So I wanted to further elaborate on the bucket setup. So what you can do, if you want a little bit more height, you can actually invert the bucket and put the base of the pot on top of the base of the bucket. So you can just flip it over and it'll probably go up about another 10 centimeters, 12 centimeters or something. So get a little bit more height for the frogs. Evidently this one needs a little bit of a clean out. What you want to do, just elaborating on this, is when you actually go and clean the frog hotel out, what you want to do is, if you have any residents already in there, you want to remove them with some clean hands, or preferably with some gloves, because they're not really friendly with some of the oils on our skin. So if you don't have gloves, then a wet hand will probably do the trick, because that's probably about the minimum that you want to handle the frogs with. Just put them into a bucket with a little bit of water and do your thing with the hotel, and kind of wash out the rocks and inside the pipes, and yeah, reassemble and put the frogs back in, and they should be happy. I mean, look at these guys. They really got the life. I mean, they've got free house, free water, free food, free light. Who wouldn't like it? So this one was one for the neurophiles out there. We all got frog lovers, you know who you are. So the whole purpose of the frog hotel is twofold. So the first part is to clear them out of the guttering and the drainage areas or the catchment areas around the house. So we live in a kind of a rural type of setting. I suppose this would work just as well for a metropolitan, like a suburban type of household, as it would for out here. That was the first part. The second is, once they've been cleared out of that area, then go and look for somewhere that is more of a safe haven. And this is in effort of doing that. So at first they may be a little bit shy about going into the frog hotels, so they may need a little bit of coercion. But if you're going to do this, like I said earlier, you would need to use gloves or maybe a wet hand or something to try and remove them from said catchments, gutters, drainage areas, and putting them into their hotels. Others might actually find the hotels by themselves, and many of them have. So you'll find frogs are very territorial, and they don't really want to move from one spot to another very easily. So just be prepared for that. The ones that are in both of my frog hotels right now, they've loved it. Like most amphibians, they are cold-blooded, and most of them will go into hibernation during the colder months. Some of them will actually come out once in a while and decide to have a bit of a feed, but most of them will just, kind of stay curled up and tucked inside the pipes. But once the warmer months are out, then they'll usually come out and decide to start feeding, just like normal. The easy way to find out if they've been around is to look for frog droppings, and you'll find them pretty easily. They'll be all around the rocks and the pipes. So I think that about covers it, guys. Good luck with your frog hotel building, and let me know how you went if you decide to make one of these for yourself. Drop a comment below, give us a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you around the next one. Thank you very much for watching, guys. This is the big fella. Have a good one.